I still remember the exact moment I realized I wasn't just broken. I was being broken on purpose. And the worst part, the person doing it thought it was hilarious. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, the kind that smells like charcoal and cut grass, the kind my family lives for, the annual barbecue, a tradition that's been going strong since I was a kid, was being held at my house this year. I love hosting it. There's something about seeing my parents, my siblings, there. Kids running around the yard, all under a sky so blue it feels fake. It makes me feel like I've done something right with my life. I spent the whole morning prepping, cleaned the patio, mowed the lawn, fired up the smoker for the brisket. My specialty, I was in a good headspace, maybe the best I'd been in months. For the first time since losing my job, I wasn't thinking about invoices or client calls or how much money I didn't have. I was just present. Sarah was acting strange all morning, not angry, not sad, just off. Too sweet, too giggly. She kept touching my arm, saying things like, "You're such a good host, babe," with this weird sparkle in her eye. At the time, I brushed it off, thought maybe she was just in a good mood. But looking back, that wasn't joy, that was anticipation. She was waiting to pull the trigger. The party started around 2 p.m. Relatives poured in. Aunts, uncles, cousins, a swarm of nieces and nephews. I was at the grill, flipping burgers, laughing with my dad about how he still burns every hot dog he touches. I felt relaxed, at peace. For once, everything felt normal. Then, while I was focused on the food, back turned to the crowd, I felt something light tap against my shoulder blades, a piece of tape. I didn't think much of it, figured Sarah had stuck one of those silly "kiss the cook" signs on me as a joke. I smiled, shook my head, kept grilling. I walked around like that for over an hour, serving drinks, playing catch with my nephews, refilling the chip bowls, smiling, joking, acting like everything was fine, completely unaware that I was carrying a sign that made me look like a homeless man begging for scraps. It wasn't until my 7-year-old nephew, Leo, tugged on my shorts and looked up at me with those big, innocent eyes that everything changed. "Uncle Tom," he asked, "what does unemployed mean?" I froze, my entire body went cold, my hands tingled. I didn't even know how to respond. I just stared at him, my mouth half open, like I'd been caught in a lie. Then my brother, Mark, stepped in. He'd seen the sign too. His face was red. Without a word, he reached over and ripped it off my back. And that's when I saw it, a piece of cardboard, crudely drawn, made to look like something you'd see on a street corner. Thick black marker, big, bold letters. "Will work for food, unemployed and desperate. Please help. My girlfriend pays for everything." I felt the blood drain from my face. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. This wasn't a joke. This was a hit, a public execution, a message meant to humiliate me. Not just in front of strangers, but in front of my family, the people who've known me since I was in diapers. The people who've seen me at my best and my worst. And she'd turned me into a punchline before I could even process it. My sister, Jen, came rushing over, phone in hand, face pale. "Tom," she said, voice low. "Look at this." She showed me Sarah's Instagram story. It was a photo of me, taken from behind, standing at the grill. That disgusting sign taped to my back. The caption, "Putting the new hubby to work. Got to earn his keep. LOL. Unemployed and loving it. Charity case. Charity case." There were laughing emojis, fire emojis, hard eyes from her friends, and there she was, Sarah, standing near the punch bowl, laughing with her girlfriends like she'd just pulled off the prank of the century. She caught my eye, smiled, gave me a little wink, like we were sharing some inside joke. In that single moment, for years of love, trust, and sacrifice evaporated. All the times I covered her rent when she was between jobs, all the dinners I paid for because she said, "We'll split it later," and never did, all the vacations I planned and booked because she wasn't good with money, all the excuses I made when she rolled her eyes at my business idea, calling it my little project. It all curdled into something hard, cold, final. And yet, I didn't yell, I didn't scream, I didn't throw the sign on the ground or confront her in front of everyone. That's what she wanted. She wanted a scene. She wanted me to lose control, to prove her point that I was unstable, desperate, a failure. I refused to give her that. Instead, I forced a smile, laughed like it was just another dumb joke. Wow, I said, shaking my head. She's got a heck of a sense of humor. Huh, a little dark for me, but what are you gonna do? I clapped my brother on the shoulder. Thanks for the heads up, man. Then I went back to hosting. I played catch with the kids. I talked to my mom about her roses. I made sure everyone had food, drinks, shade. I was the perfect host, calm, present, unbothered. Sarah kept glancing over, waiting for me to crack, but I didn't, and the longer I smiled, the more her grin started to falter, because she realized something. I wasn't playing along, I was already gone. Inside my head, a plan was forming, quiet, precise, unstoppable. Around 6 p.m., I told my sister I had a headache and needed to lie down. I said, "Y'all stay, enjoy the pool, eat the food. I'll be back in a bit." I walked into the house, grabbed my keys, my wallet, went out the side door, got in my truck, and I just drove. Not far, just to a quiet hotel about 20 minutes away, checked in under my name, sat in that sterile room, staring at the ceiling, heart still pounding. Then I picked up the phone. I called a moving company, one that specializes in short notice, overnight jobs. I explained the situation. I needed a crew to pack up and remove one person's belongings from a two-bedroom house. I told them I needed them there at 8 a.m. Sharp. They asked if there'd be resistance. I said, "She'll be surprised, but she won't stop it." I hung up, sat in silence. Sarah thinks I'm in the spare bedroom, sulking. She thinks I'll come crawling back tomorrow with an apology, begging her to forgive me for being too sensitive. She thinks we'll have a fight, make up, and go back to the same cycle. Her quiet jabs, my quiet suffering. She has no idea I'm not even in the house. She has no idea that while she's laughing with her friends about how unemployed and desperate I am, I've already set the wheels in motion. She thinks she humiliated me. She's about to learn what real humiliation feels like, because when she wakes up tomorrow morning, her entire life with me will be sitting in the back of a moving truck. I was parked down the street from my house at 7:45 a.m. the next morning, coffee in hand from the gas station, watched the clock like a sniper. At exactly 8 a.m., a large moving truck pulled up to the curb, right on time. I walked over, met the crew leader, a big guy named Frank, salt and pepper beard, calm voice. I handed him the key and said, "I'll let you in." The house was quiet. Sarah was still asleep in the master bedroom, completely oblivious. I'd given Frank a detailed list, itemized, specific. Not a single thing was left to chance. All women's clothing and shoes from the master closet, all personal items from the bathroom vanity, entire contents of the spare bedroom, her office, boxes labeled Sarah, in the garage. I was meticulous. I didn't want any room for accusation. "No, you stole my jewelry." Nonsense. Everything she owned, that she'd actually paid for, was going with her. The crew started in the spare room, quiet, professional, no loud talking, just the sound of tape guns and cardboard. About 20 minutes in, the noise woke her up. I was standing in the living room when she appeared, hair a mess, wearing one of my old t-shirts, eyes still heavy with sleep. Then she saw the movers. One of them was carefully wrapping her monitor in a blanket, another was stacking her books into a box. She froze. Her face went from sleepy confusion to full-blown panic in less than a second. "Tom," she said, voice rising. "What the hell is going on? Who are these people?" I took a slow sip of coffee. "They're movers, Sarah," I said. "I hired them." She blinked. "Movers? What?" "You're moving out." She actually laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound. "Moving out? Are you serious? Are you insane?" Is this because of that stupid joke yesterday? I looked at her, calm, cold. It wasn't a joke, I said. It was a statement. You made it very clear what you think of me. I'm just accepting it. She stepped forward, eyes wide. You can't be serious. That was just a prank. Everyone was laughing. Not everyone, I said. And you didn't do it for everyone. You did it for you and your friends. You made me look like a charity case in front of my family. That's not something you come back from. I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshot of her story, the photo, the caption, the laughing emojis. This, I said, is not something you walk away from like it's nothing. She started to cry. But it wasn't the cry of someone who felt guilt. It was the cry of someone who just lost their meal ticket, the sound of a child whose favorite toy got taken away. You can't do this, she shouted. Half of this stuff is mine. We built this life together. I took a step toward her. Let's be very clear, I said, voice low. You didn't build anything. You were a resident. I bought this house 2 years before I even met you. I paid for every piece of furniture. You haven't contributed a single dollar to the mortgage, not one. I paused. You're welcome to take everything you personally paid for. The movers have a list. They'll deliver it to any address within 50 miles. Her face twisted. My car. My furniture. My TV. I corrected her gently. My car, my furniture, my TV. Then I dropped the final bomb. I was at the bank this morning. Your name's been removed from the joint account. Your credit card's been canceled. The financial arrangement you found so funny yesterday? It's over. She sank onto the arm of the couch, face in her hands, let out a sound that was half sob, half scream. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no satisfaction, just emptiness and clarity. The movers kept working professional, unfazed. Over the next 2 hours, they packed up her entire life, her clothes, her makeup, her stupid dream journal where she wrote about being an influencer. All of it, gone. During that time, Sarah made a series of frantic calls from the back patio. First, her friends, the ones who laughed at her post. I could hear her sigh. Can I crash with you? Just for a few days? Please? No one said yes. Then came the call she dreaded. Her parents. I already knew the outcome. Her dad's a retired mechanic. Her mom works part-time at a pharmacy. They live 40 minutes away in a small house with one spare room. When the truck was packed, Frank came to me with a clipboard. We have an address, sir, Northwood, her parents' place. I nodded. I walked over to Sarah, who was sitting on the front steps, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. The truck's ready, I said. I handed her a small box, her toothbrush, phone charger, a few essentials. I believe this is everything. She looked up at me, eyes red, voice breaking. You're really doing this? You're throwing away 4 years over one stupid prank. I knelt down, just a little, so I could look her in the eye. You threw it away, Sarah. Not me. You just didn't realize it until now. I watched the truck pull away, carrying her life, her choices, her consequences. She sat on the sidewalk, waiting for her parents to come pick her up. I went back inside, closed the door, and for the first time in a very long time, I was home. It's been 3 months since the barbecue. The first thing I noticed was the silence. No loud music, no endless phone calls, no TV blaring reality shows I never cared about. Just peace. My mom called the next day, worried-eyed. Acted too fast. My dad was quiet on the phone. Then he said, I'm proud of you. I explained everything. Not just the sign, but the year of little jabs, the eye rolls, the way she'd say, when you get a real job, like it was a joke. When my mom saw the charity case post, she didn't defend Sarah. She said, no daughter of mine would ever treat someone like that. They got it. Sarah tried to spin it. Posted vague stories about toxic relationships and crazy exes, but too many people saw what she did. The story that spread. Woman humiliates boyfriend at family party, gets kicked out the next morning. A week later, I got a certified letter from her lawyer, demands half the furniture, emotional distress, car payments. I sent back a package, deed to the house. Dated 2 years before I met her, bank statements. All furniture paid by me, credit card history, $10,000 in non-essentials she charged, screenshot of her post, and a note. We'd be happy to see you in court. We'll also be filing a counterclaim for defamation and repayment. We never heard from them again. She couldn't afford her car. I gave her a choice: refinance or I sell it. She couldn't qualify, so I sold it, paid off the loan, mailed her the leftover $900. Last I heard, she's working a 9 to 5 in customer service, living with her parents, her influencer dreams, dead, and her friends, the ones who laughed. They vanished the second she stopped paying for dinners. Funny how that works. But the real twist? The layoff that felt like the end turned out to be the beginning. Without the emotional drain of that relationship, I poured everything into my business. 2 months ago, I landed a major client, a regional shipping company, big contract. Last month, another one. I've hired my first employee, and last weekend, I hosted another barbecue, smaller, just family, just people who respect me. As I stood at the grill, my dad came over, watched me for a minute, then clapped me on the shoulder. "You." "No, Tom," he said. "I haven't seen you look this happy in years. It's good to have you back." He was right. I had been gone. And the woman who thought she humiliated me? She didn't break me. She woke me up. She thought she put a sign on my back that said I was worthless. What she really did was give me a sign that said, "It's time to move on." And for that, I guess I should be grateful.